Hello and welcome. Welcome to the budget season. We are all anxiously waiting for the upcoming budget on July 23rd. We have a special guest today, Sarvajit Virk, co-founder and managing director, Finvasia. Hello, Sarvajit.
Hi, Shruti. Thank you very much for being here.
Um, Thank you, Sarvajit. Before I dig in, deeper into what are your expectations, what could impact investors, what is your overall expectations from the budget, from the upcoming budget?
Sure. I think, like all of us, it's very exciting to see what we have in this budget. I think predominantly I have broken this budget into three I. One is more focused on individuals. Second is more focused on investments. And third is going to be more focused on the industry. So keeping that three I in perspective, I believe that the budget will surely have something and largely very detailed, more focused as a long-term vision strategy from the government, keeping in mind in these three sectors which have really done tremendously great in the last few years, but at the same time has a lot of potential, if you really ask me, from where we are to where we really can achieve, say, a $5 trillion economy or beyond. So a lot needs to happen, and I feel this budget will surely bring in for us.
Right. I would usually, start digging in deeper and ask you about, what is the market expecting? But you spoke about $5 trillion economy. Well, India is so far the fastest growing economy. Even the IMF raised its GDP forecast to 7% from 6.8%. It probably will be the fastest growing economy in the coming years. Inflation is well almost under control, and more or less everything looks good so far. So,
Yeah.
what is your projection that when do you expect the Indian economy to be $5 trillion economy?
See, I think these are numbers which are good as a milestone for us to motivate. But I think the larger context is beyond 5 trillion as well.
Sure.
And I strongly believe that COVID was surely something as a learning curve, but had that not happened, the milestone could have achieved much faster. But giving a number, I think, is not the actual goal. I think what we need to start talking about is that what India at 100 as the age, what we talk about as India at 75, is what we are really planning to achieve. $5 trillion economy is one of our targets or milestones, but the ultimate goal beyond that. So in that particular perspective, I think $5 trillion economy probably next 2 years to put up numbers to it, but the vision is beyond that.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. And how do you anticipate the upcoming budget will impact investors' sentiment and trading activity?
We have really seen how, the financial inclusion has really happened in the last few years. Indeed, I was just reading an article yesterday where even the India rating when it comes to financial inclusion index has also gone up from the previous year. I think we were in 61%, now we are around 64% something. And keeping that perspective in mind, as the investments are coming in the market, as the government is also focusing majority on the infra side, I think a totality, if we looked at, it is a sentiment building exercise, for people to continue to invest, for foreign investors to look at India as the next right destination when it comes to investment, and even for a domestic growth, if you really see how the progress has been. So putting all that together, I think it's the positive sentiment which has really built up in the last few years. And with the stable government, I feel there is going to be a lot more which will come and which will be offered by the government to make sure that the positivity as an ecosystem, as a momentum in the market continues. And once the government continues to participate, I think it always complement to the overall sentiment of retail investors. And I think now India is more looking at retail participation much higher than having those days where we were only looking at foreign investors, to venture in India. So I think the whole shift is also a positive impact where people have started looking trading and investments and equity market as one of their asset classes in portfolio. And I think that's the best part about India, that we have wider participation also coming in.
Right, right. Now, moving on to larger plans in the budget, what do you see? What is your outlook on the government's capex plans?
Uh, See, if you really look at most of the developed countries, we can do a quick dipstick by saying that the infra has to be really at par when it comes to calling ourselves as one of the developed countries. And I think that is where the focus has been in the last few years. We have seen how much investment has really gone into building the grassroots of connectivity between the cities, between the states, which obviously promote a local livelihood, but also gives an opportunity for industry to continue to expand. So putting all that perspective, I feel that yes, there should be a larger capital investment fund, more focusing on building the infra, building the ease of doing business, building the ease of living. I think if we put all of that together,
Right.
the next milestone in the next 5 years predominantly needs to focus on two things. First, connecting cities, but also at the same time enhancing the existing cities, because we have seen how the bigger cities have really got into situations where the local population needs to move out, but then they still have a dependency on those cities and state. So I think
Mm.
a two-level strategy where a macro level at the infra, but at the same time micro level giving boost to the local cities and states when it comes to infra development. I think that will create a lot of that will create investors and government to create a roadmap, which will then take us to be the top three developed countries of the world.
Right. Sarvjit, you spoke about innovation. Now, the kind of the impact that technological advancements like AI has in the past few months, if I could say, what do you think, or how do you think Indian stock market will have an impact from AI?
See, I've always been advocating for the last few years that AI will really bring the next level of financial inclusion, and that is for different reasons. Not only because we are very rich on data, but at the
Right.
same time, the opportunity which AI can bring in to the vernacular side, more so with the diversified background, diversified demographic, and so many languages, which India is proud of. I
Hmm.
think that solution can really be used through AI. So AI will do a lot of things, is what my understanding is, and we have been very strongly including that AI in our internal products, also building up a lot of products for the retail clients. So in the innovation side, I think yes, AI can really help by creating very customized solutions, right? I mean, those are the days when there used to be like one problem, one app, one solution. Now the world is moving towards my problem, my app, my solution. And that
Absolutely.
whole customized, expectations, that whole customized, way of having life will really come through AI and can really give that additional wealth creation, financial inclusion through AI. And I'm strongly advocating, but I also feel that this is a turning point for us. The more we can invest on AI, their infrastructures, building models on our data, we can really be the next game changer by creating those kind of stories, those kind of use cases where people will say that, oh, India has done it, we can copy it now.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. And then quickly moving on to markets, any measures expected from you, as in from the budget that you expect that will strengthen investors' protection, education, awareness about the market?
See, yes, I think awareness is one of the most important aspect in India right now, especially with so much inclusion happening, so much can really be built up through AI when it comes to content. So, which means that the credibility, the biasness, which really at times become part of technology product development, have to be kept in mind. So, yes, I feel that government should definitely focus on creating right platforms where, people can really understand before they get into this market, because it is a wealth creation, it's an investment. And, given the history of India, how we always look at finances, at money from a long-term perspective. So I think from a government standpoint, yes, I think more awareness, more ease of doing business. I know last year the finance minister also emphasized that we need to have more ease of doing business in capital market, and I think that's an extension of now we should start looking at more and more right ways where people's safety is looked at, but at the same time they have an opportunity to start investing. And from a retail standpoint, budget day is one of the good days. There is a volatility. Yes, there are news-driven opportunities which people invest. But at the same time, risk is something which I always advise everyone to be very cautious of. Be mindful of when you should invest, how much you should invest, and continue to invest, right? So don't look at that in the morning, I'm just going to pump in money and then, I'll just take it out at the end of the day because it's budget, I will make money. I think we need to be very careful of, events like this. But at the same time, keep your long-term horizon very, clear in your head. And then accordingly, you can just continue to invest in different asset classes, including capital market.
Sure, sure. Sarvajit, one last question. Do you think this upcoming budget will be a populist one?
So I think the definition of populist has really changed in last so many years, because it's the expectation, it's a demand to supply, which has really redrafted this word populist. Back in days, a change in a personal income tax slab used to be considered as populist. Whereas if you really look at it now, and more importantly, what we are looking at as a country, as an industry for the next 5 years, 10 years, there are always certain things which are good to have, must to have. But then more importantly is that what are we really planning to achieve in the next 5 years or beyond? So keeping that all thought together, I think a balanced budget is always beneficial for the growth. There are certain things which you always expect, and they are also important for the right section of country to grow and build their assets, their income. But from a long-term perspective, I think there is a lot more which needs to be looked at, and then build the budget and not just say that, hey, that's populist for a certain segment. We need to look at the larger picture. And I think that is what creates an asset, and that is what creates a country like India where we are right now. That historically we have really kept a balanced budget, keeping in mind the industry and individual and investments. And this is where we are, and I don't see there is reason for us to look back. We will definitely, create stories in 20 years, 50 years, where people will talk about it, what we are doing now, and that is what will make us a great country.
Right. So populist or not, we are very anxiously and waiting for the upcoming budget. That was Sarvajit Virk, co-founder and managing director Finvasia. Sarvajit, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you very much.
Don't miss out. Follow Oneindia for real-time updates.